Okay, here it is, my prediction video for Keith Thurman. Keith one-time Thurman against Leonard Bundu. Now, the general feeling out there for Keith Thurman fans, and if you don't already know, I am a Keith Thurman fan. I do like Keith Thurman as a fighter. Is that, people are glad to see Keith Thurman back in action. But then, it's and who's he fighting? And as soon as you don't mention the name Pacquiao, Mayweather, Alexander, Amir Khan, Kell Brook, nobody in the top 5 in the world, or the top 10, the person's a bum. That's the consensus by people who really don't study boxing. Leonard Bundu is the European welterweight champion, and he beat Frankie Gavin in his last fight. Gavin was unbeaten at the time. Highly talented fighter in the UK who just recently beat Bradley Skeet on the Tyson Fury Chisora undercard. Now Bundu has also beaten Lee Purdy, and he's unbeaten. He's 40 years of age. So people say, oh, when he's 40, he's past it. Well, being 40 also means that you can have a lot of experience. 40 means you might not get frustrated as easy. Being 40 means that, you are quite focused in what you want. You're not going to get distracted by the fast cars and the women. Well, if you are at that age, you're a bit silly. Life would have slowed down so much and you would be able to focus on what you need to do. The specific goal is settled now with a wife and kids. So, Bundu's going to do what he can to support his family. Why I said that, I don't know. But so he's an experienced campaigner. He's got decent footwork. He's got wicked body shots. Bundu isn't a huge puncher, but I think he hits hurtful enough to be respected, and he could be a dangerous opponent. Frankie Gavin discovered that when he decided to put the fight with Bundu and have his back against the ropes, with Bundu throwing in short, little sharp body shots, dropping Gavin and ultimately winning the fight for Bundu. Again, Lee Purdy stood right in front of Bundu, and Lee Purdy is meant to be quite physically strong at the weight. He at times hurt Bundu to the body, but Bundu ended up stopping Lee Purdy in quite devastating fashion. And Bundu will bring a challenge, but it's going to be dependent on a few factors. Now let's switch over to Keith Thurman. Exciting, big punching, entertaining. Any of you who know me, we've done quite a few interviews, full-length interviews with Keith Thurman, and really get to know what the man's about. And I appreciate Keith Thurman as a fighter. Brings a lot of excitement to the ring, and charismatic as well. And he'll let you know. He doesn't need any PR. He'll tell you that he's ready to fight the best in the world. And we hope after the Bundu fight, should he win, that he gets to fight the best fighters in the world. Now, I could sit down here and tell you all the wonderful things about Keith Thurman and tell you, oh, well, Keith Thurman will blast him out in 3 rounds and that'll be it, and thank you very much. But no, I will keep saying this about Keith Thurman, and I will keep saying this about Keith Thurman, and I've said it to Keith Thurman, that yes, you're a big puncher, yes, you're exciting, yes, you put bums on seats, yes, you're going to become a big draw, but no, I don't agree with you sticking your chin in harm's way and testing your chin. I don't agree in the philosophy. Yes, it put bums on seats. Yes, it's exciting. But my gosh, let's go back to the fight with Jesus Soto Karass, the first round, where Thurman gets rocked with a big right hand with his chin stuck in the air. Soto Karass obviously was a little taller than Keith, and was able to catch Keith and stun Keith, and having visibly stunned in the fight. Keith then turned around and said to me that, you know, he don't mind having his chin being tested, because at some point he's going to get tested. Those sort of tactics I would suggest to Keith Thurman for this fight not to be doing. It's macho, it's exciting, it's reckless, and I think against Bundu he needs to be a little bit more careful. What Keith has in his side for this fight is footwork, speed, explosive power, the ability to get in and out and box laterally, moving from side to side. Something that Gavin gave Bundu problems with, but Gavin couldn't sustain that, started fighting against the ropes, and of course Bundu threw the body shots and hurt Gavin and dropped him. Now, when Bundu fights and throws his combinations, if you watch him in the center ring, he throws his combinations, then he does cardinal sin, steps straight back and leaves his hands down. So, leaves his chin in the air, doesn't move his head, doesn't put his hands up. So you'll see Bundu may throw a real flashy combination and then pull back. And he's got his chin there to be taken off clean as well. With someone like Thurman, with the hand speed of Thurman, Bundu may be throwing a combination, still getting caught with big right hands. There are times where Bundu stands in the center ring or is backing up against the ropes and doesn't do anything. He just stands there looking at you. And against someone like Thurman, again, with the hand speed and the power of Thurman, you really can't be doing anything like that. Now, there are questions. How big a puncher is Keith Thurman? Now, we don't know. We don't know how big a puncher he is yet. We know that he hits hard. We know that he stopped Diaz, or Diaz retired on his stool. Porter couldn't stop him twice, and he stopped him there. Jesus Soto Carras was stopped by Thurman. Alexander couldn't do that. They went for 12 rounds. So Thurman does carry some dig. Now, I ask this question for the simple reason: if Thurman doesn't get Bundu out there in the first 5 rounds, then it could become more of a chess match later on in the fight. Now, Bundu as well, like I said, does get hurt to the body and has a tendency to drop his hands. But Bundu has got a lot of heart, a lot of courage, and if you see the fights he's had to dig in deep, he's dug in deep and won. So, I think if Keith Thurman doesn't do anything macho, stays at the center ring, uses his quality jab that he has got, and Keith Thurman has got a very good amateur record. A lot of people don't talk about the amount of medals and trophies that Keith won as an amateur, and they just look at him as just a reckless puncher. Keith has got good boxing skill, and in the gym with Dan Birmingham, you know, and of course Ben Getty, who was in Keith Thurman's corner, and Keith remembers and dedicates every fight to him. I think that that's a gym that also produced Ronald Winky Wright and Jeff Lacey. In some ways, Bundu is sort of like Winky Wright, because he's experienced, he's fought in England a few times, and now he's going to America. Although he's an Italian, he's coming to America now for the big time, the big opportunity. And people say, "Oh, you're saying a big fight for Keith Thurman?" Oh yeah. Should Keith Thurman lose this fight, you'll find out how big a fight this is. People think, well, why is he fighting Bundu? It's logical. Keith Thurman is WBA interim champion. I think the number 1 contender is Amir Khan. After that, it's Maidana. Maidana didn't want to fight Keith Thurman, and why would he fight Keith Thurman having fought Mayweather twice? Then you've got, I think it's Bundu. I think Amir Khan, Maidana, Bundu. I think so. So he's in the top 3 or top 4. So it's a valid fight for Keith Thurman. And in terms of the European audience, it's the first time that Thurman fights a European, which is good, because people can track back and say, Bundu. People can look at Bundu and say, who did Bundu fight? He fought Frankie Gavin. So those in the UK will tune in to see what this Keith Thurman's about for the first time. So that's good in terms of if there's future matchups down the line for Keith Thurman to fight Kell Brook or Amir Khan. So, you know, I think there's some other benefits to Keith Thurman should he look spectacular in this fight. From what I've seen of Bundu in the pre-fight, and I've seen him moving around, he seems very timid. But I don't know. I've never seen any press conferences before. I don't know if he's going to get overawed by the whole situation. I'm thinking as a 40-year-old man, maybe you won't get as overawed, but hey, who knows? This is the biggest occasion he's been in. He's unbeaten, so we don't know how good he actually is. We don't know how good Bundu is. Like I said, if Bundu can take Thurman's power and can drag him late into a fight, then we may have a fight on our hands. But because Bundu, like I said, drops the hands, pulls straight back, he's open to Thurman's left hand and right hand, has no head movement, and he has got decent footwork, but doesn't move around that much. I believe Thurman, you know, peppers Bundu with combinations and stops Bundu with around the midway point. Will Thurman be tentative, throwing punches with that shoulder that he injured? Well, if he's that tentative, he shouldn't really be fighting, should he? But yeah, I think Thurman wins this fight inside 6. But with undefeated fighters, you never know. You never know how good they are. And some fighters raise their game. So I expect Thurman to win the fight. One thing I will say, Keith Thurman must ensure that his back does not touch the ropes. He's got to keep this fight in the centre of the ring, and he's got to keep Bundu moving. He's got to move Bundu around the ring and whack hard body shots in when he can. But he cannot fight with his back against the ropes and allow Bundu to get any sort of rhythm. So if I were Keith Thurman, I'd jump on Bundu and land shots from first bell. Let him know where he's at. So yeah, Keith, if you managed to see this video, all the best to you and your team. And look forward to seeing you landing one time. He said it only takes one time. Let's see. Let me know what you guys think out there, and girls. I know there are a lot of ladies now watching the boxing as well and have opinions. So let me know what you guys and girls think. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments. This has been BWTMONLINE TV. I'm out. Take care.